welcome to the curling prep curling state championship for 2001-2002 school year from the Wausau Curling Club, and we are playing the first round of a round robin, 4 teams in each draw, and the game we are working with this time around is Stevens Point and DC Everest girls. And after 2 ends, Stevens Point enjoys a 3-0 lead as we step into the third end. Stevens Point was the state champions a couple of years in a row. 2016 and 2017, DC Everest girls have never been the state champion. They're going for their first, but right now they're behind as we start end number 3 with Chris Berge. I'm George Hirsch. Chris has got everything technical going, and I'm the commentator. As we move into action on the ice, we are in number 8 sheet. You can see the scoreboard, and there's nothing in the red yet because Everest hasn't scored in the first 2 holes. So, looking at the monitor right now, we have the second shot coming up, the second for Stevens Point. Just finished up. This is Alexander. The Everest foursome, the rink, is the Smith rink. Sienna Richardson, Mia Paget, Elena Alexander, and Caitlin Smith. That's the Everest foursome making up that rink. Stevens Point, the first is Gabriella Zimmerman, second Kaylee Van Beaver. Ava Olds is number 3, and the skip is Emily Rubenzer. So it's the Rubenzer rink. On the release, Stevens Point. Everest has the hammer. Giving up points in the first 2. The first end is started in some circles with a coin toss. In some circles they throw or toss 2 rocks down, and whoever gets closest out of the 2 team gets their choice, which is the hammer, obviously. Now we set up with the second for Everest. That's Mia Pajic. The sweepers, trying to encourage her to get down in there. So far they haven't scored. They had a couple in place for points in the second end, but they weren't able to finish, even though they had the hammer. You can see the crowd, the stands behind the players right now. COVID protocol is here, and it's masks for participants. The top line masks for all spectators. The clubhouse is only for students and coaches. The locker rooms are for only students and coaches. So it's the protocol, and we haven't had a broadcast for you on Wausau Area Access Media for a couple of years because of that same thing. As you take a look at the circle now, the 12-foot, there is some activity in there, and it's Point that has the advantage. Right now, Everest has the second shot for Maja Pejic. Well, I know what she's trying to do, but let's see. Maybe it does work. On this side of the rink, this end of the rink, our overhead shot doesn't cover all the circles, so we'll have to fill you in as best we can on where things are. Now, it would appear that that red rock for Everest is gone back there. This is the first delivery for Ava Olds, the 3 for Stevens Point. And they're just watching it go down, and it's not going to be in play, I don't think. Now, we don't have to worry about where that is. There you go. You can see it now. Out of play. So far, we only have one in the I guess you'd call it the house, huh? One in the house. And this is Elena Alexander, Everest 3rd. Getting instructions from the skip. Caitlin Smith. Sweepers are ready. One of the things that we've noticed, we've done a couple of other contests today, one girls and one boys, is a lot of these curlers today are having a little bit of a problem with weight. A lot of rocks, stones if you prefer, have come up short. Now, yeah, some of that is strategy, the guards obviously, but some of it, even when they need a little more, it's not there. And so they're compensating, and then they go too heavy. So it's been a struggle for them to find the house, the circle, even the 12-foot at times. This is the second toss for Olds, Ava Olds. Now, I'm going to make a change in names here, and Chris may, I don't know if you can make it or not, but the alternate, Allie Peckelman, is in there for Spash, unless she's wearing somebody else's jacket, and she's listed as the alternate. We were not able to locate the Spash coach to make those kinds of changes. Our roster is pre-tournament submissions by the coaches. But the jacket says Pickelman, so that's what I'm going to go by. Allie Pickelman is in there for Spash as a 3rd. Good strategy. Plenty of room on that side. The other side has a couple of those red stones way out across the hog line, but the only purpose they would have right there is guards at this point. Okay, this is Stevens Point's Emily Rubenzer. She is the skip, so the vice skip. Ava Olds is on the other end in anticipation of the rock coming down. This one is going to be more of a draw than anything else on a teammate. But right now, the way I see it with one vantage point is it's 3 more, because that's a bite out there, that yellow one on the top near the line. As long as it covers some of the 12-foot circle, it's a goal. It's a point. And I don't see any red behind those yellows. So point is off to a good start. Everest now has the hammer, so they have a couple of opportunities for their skip, Caitlin Smith, here to counterattack, counter move. Okay, this is Caitlin Smith. She could do some real damage and really help out with a good shot right now, because it's there. But she misplays and hits her own teammate, Stone, as a takeout. So that means one more shot for Everest, point, with a 3-point opportunity right now, and they have their skip, Emily Rubenzer, there, probably to set up a guard out in front. Be one option. Another option is to put a stone off to the left or right, away from those 3 stones, where the Everest girls could not take off more than just one. If they go for the other 3, they're still going to get one in there in good position. This end is coming down to the last rocks. We'll see how it turns out. Well, she's going to get across the hog line. And I think she's going to be in a scoring position. That was a nice shot. If it stops now, which it did. So they've got 4 lined up there. That is a good position for Stevens Point to be in. That is very difficult to take out for DC Everest. Their best chance right now is just to take out the middle one that's in the 4-foot, if they can, and do a draw there, a raise, take out, and that'll give them 1. And that's about it. I don't think they can get any more than that with 1 stone, because the others are not really in play. Well, they're going for it. They just need to get some, they need a break here of some kind. And that didn't happen. Did not happen. So if I'm right, that is, you can't see from here, 3 or 4 more points for Stevens Point. Probably 4. So until we see it posted, we're going to say it's a 4-point third end. And very quickly, Stevens Point leads DC Everest in this girls' competition 7-0. These rosters are submitted by the coaches. The draws and the pairings are determined by just that, a draw. And in the draw, Stevens Point has Poinette, an often winner of the tournament. In the state tournament from its beginning, I would think. DC Everest, who they're playing now, and Nina. And coming in, Point was 1-0. In their first game, they lost. Stevens Point won. DC Everest lost their first game. So we go to end number 4. And again, Everest with the hammer. So this is the first rock for the lead, Sienna Richardson. And she puts it out in front as a guard. I don't know if that's what she wanted to do, but that's what happened. Yeah, we have the score correct. You can look up there. The ends are on the bottom. Yellow is Spash. 7 is their score after 3 ends. And this is Spash. Richardson for Everest coming up. This is Gabrielle Zimmerman, her second shot. And we don't have anything in the house yet. Second shot now for Richardson. The Evergreens trailing here early, 7-zip. They're just walking it down the ice sheet, number 8, that they're playing on. And Everest able to get one in the 8-foot. So now we go to the seconds, and it'll be Gabriel Zimmerman or Kaylee Van Beaver. It's going to be Kaylee. Not, yeah, we did make that change. So it's Kaylee Van Beaver here. Olds and Pickelman are the sweepers, so that makes up their team. So Gabriel Zimmerman is not on the roster, not on the ice for Stevens Point. That clarifies that. Just seeing their jackets now. Who's out there? Thank you, girls, for wearing those to help us clarify it. So Zimmerman is off. Replaced by Pickelman as the lead for Spash. Those are things we don't really have a lot of control over sometimes on those changes. If you can't find the coach for the change or, you know, whatever. Here's a Rock through the house for Everest from Maja Pejic. Back to Spash. Second shot for Skater. And it's a bite. If it's to any extent covering the circle, it can count as a point, and it's a bite. It's not likely to remain that way, but there it is. So now we're with Everest's second shot for the second. Maja Pejic. Everest needs to score on this one. And they're not going to do it that way. They had a little bump there, if they had something on it, a little more weight, it could have been in the house, but it didn't happen. So now we're in the middle of N3, and we've got one red for a point. Advantage Everest. Delivery Olds, Ava Olds. Their third. Well, she's going to give them a position here to be the point as she gets it into the 4, touching the 4. Got the 4 foot, the 8 foot, the 12 foot circles in the house. And the scoring is very simple, just like darts. Closest points win. Closest rocks win. To the button, T. Okay. First shot for Alexander. Elena Alexander. Well, the girls, the sweepers here, are looking at the skip down on the end to see if she has some direction for them, which she doesn't. But if there's enough on this, they can move inside, and they do. And that was a nice one for Everest, because they're now in the 4 foot, and they have a point, and they will put Stevens Point a little more on the defensive. So Stevens Point now is going to be more in a takeout mode. Modus operandi here, rather than a placement of their own rock. Just talking about it. Rebenzer. And Kaylin Van Bieber was last. Now this is Ava Olds. She's their third, her second toss. She's not going to reach the red, but she may end up. Oh, no, she did, but it didn't do what she wanted it to, because the red is still the point. She tried to roll the point more, the red one more, but she didn't have the right angle or speed, weight on the rock for that to happen. So we go now to Everest with the hammer. This is the second toss for Alexander. Now her job here would be to make it a 2-point advantage by taking that yellow one in the back end out. And it looks like she's going to be successful. Nice shot. Looks like Everest is kind of settling down here a little bit. They need to in order to come back. They have 2 points in the house with 2 rocks each as the skipper for Everest now down there. Emily Rubenzer. And she gets instructions from her teammate, vice skip, Ava Olds. Okay. You can see they're it's pretty much open right now, so you can kind of see their strategy over on that right side. Everest has their 2 reds separated, so probably not going to get both. But you can get a rock inside theirs because they're in the back end of the tee line. This one just has to stop in the 4 foot, and they are in good shape. That's exactly what it does. So couldn't ask for a better delivery on that one. Again, Everest has the hammer, so 2 chances yet for Caitlin Smith. Everest has an opportunity here to pick up 2 or 3. They just have to do what they want to do. High school curling is not affiliated with the WIAA. You know, they use the national CPA rules pretty much. The one thing I've noticed now in doing these state tournaments down here in Wausau at the curling club is that a lot of these teams are at different levels in terms of ability. Some of it's practice time, some of it's, you know, something else. Veteran, you know, some are on national teams, other youth teams around the country, in the Midwest. Some teams take it a little more seriously than others. But the big factors are experience and practice and focus. Because you need to have muscle with feeling. You know, you have to do like anybody does in a tennis or basketball or anything where you throw, toss. You have to have the right muscle tone and then get the feeling to fit in with the situation, which in a case like this is this rink and the ink, not of the ice, not ink, the ice factor. This is the last shot now for Stevens Point. And I'm not sure they're going to make it. Nope. Okay, so now There are 3 points right there for Everest. Get them back in it right now. Just got to take that out. Pure and simple. Take that one in the middle out. That yellow's got to go. And then when you do it, you do take out and roll. You don't want to roll. You want to stay right there. Let their rock roll. Alexander's taking a look at it. Now she's deciding what to do once she stepped out there. There's no time limit in this tournament. At this level, no time limits. They don't keep track of percentages, which is becoming part of curling as it is with a lot of other sports. And what is the percentage of her picking this up that she needs, or, you know, that's not involved. This is early, round 4, you know, end 4, but still it's very, very important when you're down 7-zip. You need these 3 for momentum and belief that you can do it. And it's not going to have enough weight, I don't think. Well, no. There's one more for Everest. One more for, no, I'm sorry, one more for point. We're not having a lot of luck here today in our selection of teams. We've had a couple of lopsided scores in the first 2 games we did earlier today in this first day of this tournament. And right now we're at 8-zip in this one after 4. Not that the other team doesn't have opportunities. They did right there. But it didn't work. You know, they have to they have to do it. Because at this level, these teams are not that good that they're not going to give you a chance somewhere in your ends to score some points. You know, they're not into the guards and isolation, and you can't see the rock from the other end where you're delivering, that kind of thing. It's more open. So Everest retains the hammer. But now they lead 8-0 in the 5th end as we start the second half of this contest. You saw that girl post the score. It's so social in some ways, and you can see Alexander right now up there. My guess from her reactions and things was that she was signaling to a parent or a friend or somebody in the stands watching through the glass. Of course, she couldn't talk to him. The teams have 2 timeouts in an end. One the team can call, the other one either one, coach or team. Other than that, the coaches are not there. They are not on the ice. They cannot communicate. They don't have cell phones. They don't have, to communicate anything, any way to do it. Okay, here's the second rock now for Spash. Pickelman. Well, they get it across the hog line. And they probably will get it in play in the house, and they do. Oh, it's in there. It's in the 12-foot. It's in there. Okay, something happened. They took it off, and I'm not sure what the infraction was. Somebody touched it. One of the sweepers touched it, and so that happens very rarely, but it happens. You know, they get the sweeping heavy, and that's what happened. So that helps out the cause of Everest a little bit. There again, they police themselves. Somebody on either team could have seen it and called it, and they agreed on it. Don't need a referee for curling. It's one of the ultimate team sports around. And for high school kids, it's a great sport because they really don't have the pressure. They're not under the WIAA rules. Well, I'm not saying that's bad. It's just the way it is, good or bad, but it's a factor. They're not under WIA rules. You know, there are things that they can do is practice more, maybe, or you know, get together and work on some things. Not as many regulations, but they do have the key regulations out of the curling world to deal with. Okay, we've got one in the house now. And we go to Maja Pijek. She delivers a little differently. She almost has a sidearm delivery. You don't see that often. Coming out of the hash mark, she turns a little to the side rather than straight through for the aim for the line. That's different. A little bit short. So Everest is not taking advantage of opportunities when you have an open house. The one back there for Spash is the point right now. Speaking of Spash, this is their second delivery for Kaylee Van Beaver. And she helps out Everest a little bit by having a roll, let her roll, push her roll into the house. So now the point belongs to Everest. And Maja with her second. Her motioning. I don't think the rock is listening. Maja, sorry about that. Oh, it's such a typical reaction. I don't know why she was worried about it. That was the best shot they've had tonight. Right into the button area. Spash trying to counter now. Just a takeout. Nicely done. So now they have 1 point. This is a nice takeout. Haven't seen rocks in the button, the forefoot, that much. Actually, today there are a few situations, but not a lot. It is a difficult sport to master or really be good at, and I went through those guidelines before. I mean, you have to practice and practice and practice, and everything has to be muscle memory. You've got to have a feeling when you release, when you deliver. You've got to figure out the line. You got to figure out the ice. There's a lot to it. Well, let's see now. Okay, now there are 2 red ones there, but the white one on the button is the count at this time. Ava Olds with her second delivery. Out of sight, I think out of mind. I think that one. Well, no, it's back there. It looks like a bite in the back, which right now is not a point for them, but it's there. Second rock for Elena Alexander. If there's enough there, it's a good shot. Nope, it's curving off. Not what they expected. Not what they were looking for. Confab going on before the skip heads down. The splash. Amy Rubenzer. Cleaning off the bottom and concave product. Rock about 42 pounds. They're even making smaller rocks now for littler ones to learn how to play and get the rules of curling in many localities. But high school level is the same rock as anybody else. 42 pounds, 44 Olympics used, right in that neighborhood. Okay. Everest, skip, set. Caitlin Smith. Well, this is another opportunity for them. They've had chances, believe me. You know, this is another opportunity. They have the hammer. That means she's got 2 throws left. Rubenzer for Spash has only 1. And that hammer should be worth something. But in this game right now, every one of them pretty much has been a steal, which means they score when they don't have the hammer. That's a steal. And let's see where we are. That yellow one has been in the button for a while now, and that's the count right there. And if Smith can't get that out of there, that's going to be another at least 1 for Spash. Now they're setting up a little guard for that one. Maybe a little heavy though. Well, no, they've got the 2 there now. They've got the 2. I can't see this above camera right now. Now I can take a look at it. Yeah, they've got 2. 2 in the 4-foot. So for Smith for Everest, go after those 2. You've got 2 over on the other side that could be points, but you got to get these 2 with 1 shot. And again, it's an opportunity to get a couple of points, maybe 3, if it's done right. She's setting up the line. Okay, she's got the inner curl. So the curl should be right. Too fast though, too fast. Too fast. So that's another 3 points. Yep, 3 more for Everest. They are in trouble. As after 5 ends, it is 11-0 Spash. They're looking for their 2nd win in the tournament. Everest looking for their 1st, and they're not going to get it here. The way it looks, because they're missing opportunities. That's that, you know, good shot when it's needed. Makes a big difference. They haven't been able to do it. So we go to end number 6. We're getting close to a handshake here. If Everest doesn't score, probably 3 or 4 this next end. That's where we are. Well, they gave him 2. Okay, well, they did. They gave him 2. So it's 10 zip. Not 11. My misread. So Everest still has the hammer, but when you can go out there like Spash just did and steal 2 or 3 points an end, it's really not much of a contest. So you're hoping that you just get better. Use this for experience, use it for a little bit of practice. Just get better. Make some shots. Feel better about it. Sienna Richardson. Leaves it a little short. Already. This is Pickelman now. She was listed as an alternate on the roster, but she's in as the lead. If she's an alternate, she's pretty good alternate. She's got 2 rocks in there in the house, her 2 throws. And they're far enough apart that it would be a challenge to get them both with 1 rock or 1 stone. The lead for Everest, Richardson, with her second. Now she's got some weight on this one, so we'll see what happens. There's some weight on this one. Well, that's what happened. It didn't, the weight was good to do something, but the line was way off, way off. She had it going too fast, too much weight to be able to curl. You're not going to curl a rock that much if you're at that speed or weight, or push weight. It's not going to happen. Van Beaver. Her first delivery. I think Spashing in position right now to put this one away in this end. That was a nice guard. Just makes it more difficult for Everest. There's room to get rid of that one, you know, and that's what they're going to try to do. But with that guard and the situation, Spash has put Everest on the defensive here. And they don't need that. They need to be in control at least one end here to get back into this thing. Here's the second rock. And that goes through. So, Spash in control. Two in the house for points. Guard out in front. Van Beaver trying to put another one in there. Off to the left. And she's going to be successful. Maybe. Nope. A little bit too much. A little too much. Let's see if they can have a little more success this time. I mean, you could take out those two parallel rocks. They're not that far apart. If you hit the one that she's after right now correctly, it could happen. But she did a takeout, but she was not able to hold. But now it's 1 point for Spash instead of 2. We're on the third now. Ava Olds, Stevens point. Her first throw. And they're trying to spread it out a little bit, make it more difficult for Everest to counter. This one looks a little bit heavy, but it's in play. It's in the 12-foot. House. Okay. The skip of the opposition can sweep in the house, and they do. Typically, just to get their opponent's rock out or away from the button as much as possible. You see that a lot. We just saw it on that last toss. Okay, here we go. A red rock that is going to just take out that red one on the back end, or the yellow one on the back end. So Spash can certainly live with that. Second throw, third curler. Ava Olds. She's done a pretty good job all the way through this game with her rock in terms of weight. She's putting it in play, putting it in for points possibilities just about every time. Second one for Alexander. Elia's already disappointed. Doesn't even want to look at it. She knows it's too heavy. Right through the house. Now we're already back up to the skips with their turn. So it's Emily Rebenza for Spash. If Everest doesn't score some points on this end right now, this could be history for Everest. That they won't have much of a chance. It'll be time to shake hands, I think. And that was a nice one for Rebenza as a couple of things. One is a guard, and the other is a draw. Not a draw as much as she thought at one time, but a guard. So they've got 2 points there, and they've got one draw that on that line that could cause some problems. Caitlin Smith has her hands full. She knows it. You can see the Spash girls back. You know, they're in their position to watch this now. They're enjoying themselves because they are moments away from a victory, and they will be 2-0 in their bracket and out of 3. So that means with 2 wins, it depends upon who they, if they lose one, it depends upon who they lose to. Because if they lose to a team that also has a 2-1 record, the other team gets the spot in the semifinals. But if they have a 2-1 record, they have a chance. Okay. We're down to it. Benzer with her last rock. Nice release. She's got a good weight, good curl on this. If her line is right, and it is, she's got it all lined up here now. That's 3 points there. That last one is in there with a couple of guards. Yeah, I would shrug my shoulder too if I were in the situation that Caitlin Smith is in right now. Well, just hopefully they get better. And maybe the competition won't be as strong as Spash is this year. If you look at the history of the state tournament, the girls started in the 70s. In 1976, Medford won the very first one. And the boys started in 1959. Wausau Senior High won the very first one. But only in the boys' competition once did they have any string of any particular team. Poynette was really strong there for a while. Eau Claire had, and Eau Claire's in this tournament, they had one way back when. But Poynette, Partyville were the two. Portage, they're the curling towns of the other part of the southern part of the state. And there's your handshake. And that is your game. So, DC Everest goes to 1-2. They are out of the semifinals. Or 0-2, I should say. They're out of the semifinals, but they will have another game tomorrow. The final score in a shutout, blank Stevens Point 12, DC Everest nothing. For Chris Berg, I'm George Hirsch. Hope you enjoyed our commentary. We today had 3 lopsided games. Not a prediction that we had, not a hope that we had, but it is what it is. And hopefully tomorrow we'll have 3 more, including the semifinals and finals in the afternoon for you. That will be tighter competition, a little more exciting all the way down. And they'll go 8 ends instead of 6. A couple of 6s and a 7 like we had today. Till next time, take care.